If your plumbing business is located in one city, can you appear in Google search rankings in another city? So let's go over some things about this and how to do this. Back in the day, you could put up just hordes and hordes of city pages. And let me explain a couple reasons why you don't do that today. And it's fairly recent to where we're, kind of the point of no cities in there. Now there's some ways around it. I'm going to get to it, but I'm going to explain how and why and what's happened. So years ago, and we could put up hundreds of cities in an area, or 100, and they would be fine. But there was less plumbers online and less of an emphasis on Google on what they call helpful content and quality content. As time's gone on, every plumber known to man is online, and they just have a lot to pick from in each geographic location. And as a whole, they show local people, local plumbers. And so if it gets too far away, at least from a Google perspective, I'll talk to you in just a second about ChatGPT and some innovation there for showing up further away. But as far as Google's concerned, they don't want a website they think spammy, and they don't want content written for search. They want it written for a good user experience. So if today in modern SEO time, if somebody put up 50 city pages on a plumbing website, it's literally going to carry a penalty under the Google helpful content update. So because it's not helpful to the consumer in their mind, whether you think it is or not, it's not helpful to them. So you got to be careful with these. In fact, if you have dozens of city pages, you most assuredly have, they won't tell you, usually, you'll have an algorithmic penalty through the Google helpful content update. And it's because of poor quality content. So you can still show up in other cities. So let's talk about some ways. Now, the website still needs to be great, and you still need to have it set up properly. Yes, you'll get reviews, but reviews isn't the only thing to get you to show up in rankings. So let's talk about DataPins as a piece of software. It is our software. It is not white labeled. And I know I talk about it a lot, but it is fantastic, and we've used it for 6 years. If you can tell them where a job was located, so as opposed to only when somebody raises their hand on a review. So, hey, we got a review right here. So let's say you have 75 reviews and you still don't show up in rankings the way you'd like, but you've done, let's say, 750 or let's say 1,000 jobs. It's probably pretty accurate. So 1,000 jobs, they didn't see 925 jobs. It's very detrimental. Now, most people, old school spam, would want to blog or send other signals. And again, this is all spammy now, city pages. So you want to say, no, we did a job here and we worked on a Rinnai tankless water heater. Well, that's really good content, and especially if you tag it to your tankless water heater page with a geocoordinate. It looks like a red pen dropping a map to you, but to Google, it literally looks like a digital hand raise. We did a Rinnai tankless water heater right here. Here's the geocoordinate. It's wrapped in something called schema. And you don't have to know all this stuff. I don't want you to think it's complicated because we've set it up to where it's very simple, but we do a lot of work in here and integrate DataPins in with our websites. And you're able to raise your hand every day. And as they see you popping all over your service market, yes, it'll help you show up better in rankings. It can expand out a little bit on the maps. It can expand out a lot further than Google Maps on ChatGPT. That algorithm is a black box currently, but we definitely go in there and see a client on ChatGPT with a geocoordinate, 40 miles away, because they deem it to be the best piece of content. And those little data pins that go onto the individual pages, I don't care if it's front yard line leak, trenchless, water heater, or whole house repiping, you literally go into the same page. And so if you can imagine having a page for, let's say, just tankless water heater repair, instead of having this basic page about 400 words about tankless water heater repair, you've actually tagged it 100 times and shown all the different brands and parts, and they can see the geocoordinates. It validates your company on this to show up better. And yes, they see those geocoordinates. And yes, ChatGPT sees these geocoordinates. There's these little blurbs of the map, the photos, which you may not know count as unique content. And then the technical version of what happens that actually expands the amount of words you can show up for. Let's talk about keywords for just a second. Gosh, you can really show up for a lot of keywords, guys. 99% of people miss the boat on it. So you can't throw up a blog to get keywords because you get a penalty because it's not helpful content. Nobody wants to read 3 reasons to change your tank water heater to a tankless water heater in Dallas, Texas. But if you have that and you start tagging them and you have little captions about what was done, it's very relevant to user search. So I know I rolled in a little bit here, but I want you to understand signaling and how to show up, how to expand it, and how Google views your brand. You're a digital brand, you wrap this stuff around, and I want you to get your head away from the map only to the review, because it's very confining for you to be able to get what you want. And most likely there's other people doing more stuff than that. So if you just have a website that's spammed or basic, it's a poor user experience. If you start pinning everything to it, it'll help you show up for so much more and better and in mapping. And there's some AI innovation that is, I think, is like ludicrously cool that ChatGPT is picking these things up. And it's my opinion, but it's obvious that there's not been a diminishment. There's right now of organic optimization. It is expanding. It's ChatGPT, Gemini, which is Google's, Grok, which is Elon's on X. There's all these new platforms picking up, and there's more people using this stuff. If I had to guess, it's actually going to diminish some of the paid even more, which is a really hard ROI anyway. You want to get people finding your brand, which is 75% of the people searching a non-paid item, and you do that by championing the signal, and the signal combined with the geo coordinate is a part on the city. And yes, they know what city it's in through the geo coordinate. It took the place of the city pages, just to wrap up that, to conclude it. Guys, we do this. We'd love to hear from you. We're right here in Fort Worth, Texas. All the work happens here out of Texas, and we'd love to be of service. Hope to hear from you soon.